So this is part 41, dear friends, as we continue chapter 13 in the book of Revelation. So we come now to a really mysterious number, the number 666, the number of the beast. This is from the Catholic Good News Bible. The beast forced all people, small and great, rich and poor, slave and free, to have a mark placed on their right hands or on their foreheads. No one could buy or sell unless he had this mark. That is the beast's name or the number that stands for the name. This calls for wisdom. Whoever is intelligent can work out the meaning of the number of the beast, because the number stands for a man's name. Its number is 666. This is a strange phrase, whoever has wisdom, because you need wisdom to interpret the whole Revelation. It's almost saying extra wisdom would be needed to get a proper understanding of this number, because otherwise it's saying if you don't really take great care, you'll get it wrong. So that's what we must do, is take really great care. Now the mark of the beast, which beast was this? All through the description of the beast of the earth, the beast of the sea kept appearing. The beast of the sea was the Catholic Church, led by the Pope. When it came to religion, the beast of the sea was by far the most influential of the two. Was the mark of the beast a religious or political sign? If it was a religious sign, we would expect it to be given by the beast of the sea. Does the Catholic Church make a mark on the right hand or on the foreheads? It puts a mark on both. That mark is the sign of the cross, which the priest makes on the hands and on the forehead of the child at baptism.
So is that the sign of the beast? The 666?
Yeah.
The baptism of the Catholic Church?
The sign of the cross on the right hand under the forehead.
Well, I never knew that.
Yes, I'm afraid.
So, no, that is absolutely amazing. So, the 666 sign is not the chip that gets put into...
No.
How interesting.
No, because we're talking here about not commercial things, about deep spiritual things.
Yeah.
So whatever the mark is, it must be something that is to do with religion, that's to do with the mind, that's to do with thought. Things like the chip, really, with all due respect, have nothing to do with our eternal destiny whatsoever.
Wow.
So,
so when people go on about don't take the chip, that's a misunderstanding of the book of Revelation.
It is.
Gosh,
I believe it is,
that's
yes.
good to know. What about the vaccine? The vaccine is not a sign of the beast.
No.
It's just a personal...
The vaccine is not in any way
It's just a personal decision to have or not have it.
Well, yes, but the vaccine, of course, maybe is a sign of the political establishment, all right.
Yes,
but it's
not in the book of Revelation.
No, I don't.
That is the sign. Well, thank you for letting me know that. I mean, that is really helpful.
We cannot pluck things from that time and from that history and apply them to the time of today.
No.
We can't do that.
Thank you.
Baptism. The Council of Trent was an ecumenical council of the Catholic Church, held from 1545 to 1563 in the town of Trento in northern Italy. One of the decrees which it passed is contained in Canon 9, Section 4. It says, if anyone should speak against the three sacraments, that is baptism, confirmation and ordination, that a mark should not be impressed upon the soul, that mark being a certain spiritual and an indelible sign, which means that those three sacraments cannot be repeated. If anyone says that these three sacraments do not confer a mark, let him be accursed. So in fact, the Church itself calls it a mark, but we go on to see the sacrament that makes one a Catholic, just like you would be sworn into any organisation, is baptism. That is the first sacrament.
That is the mark of the beast.
Yes,
Good
exactly.
God.
Yeah.
Good God.
It is.
Good God. Most people don't know that, you know, Neil.
They don't. I think. I think they don't know it.
And that is really, really shocking.
But it's pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Yes. Again.
Gosh.
If there's another
So what does the people think?
If there's another interpretation, well.
That it's our salvation.
Well, if there's another
That's what I
interpretation, of course, I'd be, like I said.
No, I trust you now.
I'd be willing to listen, but any interpretation must take the facts into account.
Yeah.
And it must, like I said, explain the various symbols in the verse, and they must fit in, because we're plainly talking here about the time, the Middle Ages, and the Holy Roman Empire, and the Pope as an imperial figure. So whatever it has to do with, it must have to do with either of those, and almost certainly with the Catholic Church. The mark was put on some Roman slaves. Wikipedia says robbers, like runaway slaves, were marked by the Romans with the letter F.
God.
Workers in the mines and
awful.
Convicts condemned to take part in gladiatorial shows were branded on the forehead for identification. Under Constantine, the face was not allowed to be disfigured, the branding being instead on the hand or my leg. So here's another thing that Constantine did then. So he abolished crucifixion. He passed a law that all prisoners should be allowed out for an hour every day in the fresh air, and he abolished this dreadful practice of branding slaves. So although, like I said, he was anything but a perfect Christian, he still did show a lot of Christian compassion.
He did.
Let's be honest, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Branding by the Catholic Church identifies the baptized ones as members of the Church. Baptism is the way to join most of the Christian churches. That includes the Catholic Church. This is why it is baptism that is spoken of with the mark of the beast. A mark on the right hand or on the forehead. Why the right hand? Because for the majority of people, the right hand is the strongest hand. WorldAtlas.com says, according to studies, between 70% and 95% of the world's population is right-handed. The right hand stands for strength. The forehead is where the mind is located. The forehead stands for strength of mind, and the right hand stands for strength of body. The mark on the right hand and on the forehead means that the person's strength would be owned by the Catholic Church when the priest makes the sign of the cross on the child at baptism. It meant, in effect, that the Catholic Church would own the person's spiritual life. The priest makes the sign of the cross on the person's right hand and forehead, which shows that the spiritual life of the whole person is definitely owned by the Catholic Church, a bit like a master owning a slave. The priest makes the sign of the cross on the child's left hand as well, but the book of Revelation only mentions the right hand because it is the strongest hand. The beast forced everyone to receive a mark. Wherever it had power to do so, the Catholic Church tried to force the population to become Catholics, or if not, they would be persecuted. That, of course, now is no longer the case. That's long since gone, because it simply hasn't got that political power anymore. But when it had, that's what it did. No one could buy or sell unless he had the mark. Was this buying and selling symbolic or literal? We would normally expect it to be symbolic, since the book of Revelation is mainly symbolic. Two kinds of goods can be bought and sold. First of all, literal goods: tea, sugar, coffee, bread, clothes, shoes. They are bought and sold every day. Second is spiritual goods. Religion can be bought and sold as a commodity. The Catholic Church at that time claimed to have total control over religion, because this was in the time of the Holy Roman Empire, especially in the early part of it. It was long before the Protestant Reformation, and really there was only one church in most of Europe. That was the Catholic Church. It claimed a monopoly of religion. A commercial company which has a monopoly has control over the buying and selling of their products. The Catholic Church was in a similar position with religion. No one could buy or sell. The sellers, these were the Catholic bishops. These believe in apostolic succession, which means they claim that they are successors of the 12 apostles. They claim the right to pass on the privileges which the apostles had. The bishops do this especially at the ceremony of ordination, when a priest is ordained and becomes qualified to say Mass and perform the sacraments. Now the buyers, who would they be? The sellers were the bishops. These are the Catholic priests whom the bishops would ordain. This is talking especially of the time of the Holy Roman Empire. No one could buy or sell without the mark. No one could become a Catholic priest or a Catholic bishop unless they had first received the mark of the cross on their hands and on their foreheads. The priests and bishops claimed exclusive control over the Christian religion. They in turn sold it to the ordinary people. Buying and selling of ordinary goods. Bishop Thomas Newton was born in Staffordshire, England on the 1st of January 1704. He died in 1782. He became the Anglican Bishop of Bristol in 1761. He became the Dean of St Paul's Cathedral in London in 1768. In 1754 he brought out a book called Dissertations on the Prophecies. In it he wrote, "If any dissent from the stated and authorised forms, they are condemned and executed as heretics, and in consequence of that they are no longer allowed to buy or sell. They are banned from traffic and commerce and all the benefits of civil society." Sir Roger Hoveden relates of William the Conqueror, who of course fought the Battle of Hastings in 1176 and conquered England. He was so dutiful to the Pope that he would not permit anyone in his power to buy or sell anything whom he found disobedient to the apostolic throne of the Pope. The canon passed by the Council of the Lateran under Pope Alexander III bade against the Waldenses and Albigenses, enjoins upon pain of a curse that no man may presume to entertain or cherish them in his house or land or exercise traffic, that's business, with him. The Synod of Tours in France under the same Pope Alexander III orders that no man should presume to assist them or receive them, no, not so much as to hold any communion with them. In selling and buying, that being deprived of the comfort of humanity, they may be compelled to repent of the error of their ways. Pope Martin V, in his bull sent out after the Council of Constance, commands in like manner that they do not permit the heretics to have houses in their districts or enter into contracts or carry on commerce, or not allow the heretics to enjoy the comforts of humanity with Christians. Buying and selling means buying and selling of religious commodities, mostly, but also sometimes literal goods. It means trading in the Christian religion and trading in bread, milk, meat and fish. However, it means mainly having a monopoly over the Christian religion which the Catholic Church claimed to have at that time. It was, of course, a false Christianity that was preached by the Church. So here we have
by what church?
The Catholic Church. Here we have a mixture then of the symbolic and the literal. Mostly it's either one or the other, but it's amazing to think that the Church went so far. It's one thing to have a monopoly over the Christian religion, which they claim. It's another thing to try and push that to actually control the sale of actual
everything.
Bread and butter.
Everything.
So they
body, soul, mind and heart.
Yes, they literally claim control over the whole.
Like what they're trying to do today.
Yes, in a different way, yes. Now, the name and number of the beast. No one could buy or sell unless he had this mark, that is the beast's name, or the number that stands for the name. All Catholics receive the mark of the beast at baptism. They receive it when the priest makes the sign of the cross on their foreheads. But the irony of that is that in true baptism, especially practiced in the days of the apostles, there was no sign of the cross at all.
Not at all.
It was not part of it.
No.
So
you went into the sea and
yes, there was full immersion. There was no such thing as baptizing babies.
No.
Because a baby knows nothing.
Exactly.
It was only young people, let's say, of 15 or so, who actually understood the gospel.
Yes.
So, of course, the baptism itself, sadly disused, is just a travesty.
Yeah.
By receiving the mark of the number of the beast, they become full members of the beast of the sea, of course. Now, the New English Bible says no one was allowed to buy or sell unless he bore the beast's mark, either name or number. The name of the beast. The beast is the beast of the sea, which is the Catholic Church. So the name of the beast is the Catholic Church. That's actually the name of the beast itself. Now, the number of the beast, 666. This calls for wisdom. Whoever is intelligent can work out the meaning of the number of the beast, because the number stands for a man's number. It's number 666. The Catholic Church is the beast, yet we are told that the number of the beast is the number of a man. Could this be a symbolic man? Could he stand for a group, as is common in the book of Revelation? The only group involved here is the Catholic Church, and we already know that, so that there is no need for any representation of it. We know exactly that that is represented by the beast. The man can only be a little man, one human being within the Catholic Church. It's almost as if it's going out of its way to tell us this is about one man, actual one little man, not a symbolic man. And that man must be truly special. And he must be a world figure. So,
and I think we'll end there and keep the mystery alive to the next session.
All right.